Hey, I'll speak to Bobby first. She's in for the experience of a lifetime. All right. I got to coach my two sons, enjoy every minute of it. So that'd be cool. So I'd be at that game if I could. So uh, go ahead, ask your questions.
Do you do anything different game plan prep wise because you've got a first time starter at QB? You've had this
No,
experience before. Do you change anything at all?
no. Why would you? We go about our business the same way, and I don't know why you would change.
What did Will do to separate himself from everybody else?
More so, it was just a body of work from the complete time period. I looked at spring, looked at our camp. Uh, Jacob really did a nice job late in camp. I mean, he really came on strong in the backside, whereas maybe Will came out a little bit quicker. And but Jake made a nice run that last week and a half. So, but we just made the choice. We felt that Will overall is the best person at this time to go into this football game, so we chose him.
It's game week. Do you feel like with this group of guys going into game week, it's time to get into it? Would you like to have another week or two? How do you?
No, it's time to play because 3 weeks of camp was, without school or anything going on. I mean, that was fairly long since August 1st. I don't even know what the date is today, but we reported on August 1st, so we've had our time, and we should be prepared. I mean, we weren't prepared coming out of Saturday's practice as what we needed to be, but we still have this week to get those things cleaned up, and yeah, it's time to play. You can only practice so much, and we've had the whole month now, so we need to get on the field and see where we're at, and then start making our adjustments from there.
You indicated on Friday that you already started a little bit of prep work on both Iowa State and
Mm-hmm.
Southern Utah. Can you explain maybe the thinking behind preparing? Are they similar in offense? Like you can, you know,
No, only chose those two because we have an open date in the third week. So the way we set up our segments, if you will, our groupings is those first two games, since we'll have an open date and 2 weeks to adjust and adapt, whether it be injuries or systems or schemes or quarterbacks or whatever have you. Whatever happens in that open week, we can take care of. But right now, we just looked at those two teams, package those. So what are we going to run in those two games? Work on those things, and then based off what happens at Iowa State through the Iowa State game, which direction do you emphasize? And but it was more so those two games because we'll get done with this game and you'll practice Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then play the following game. So it happens pretty quick. After that, you get 2 weeks off so you can adapt and adjust.
What's the latest on the health of Sam Drysdale and Chris Kolarovic?
Sam will not play this weekend. Chris is probably will not play. Not for sure on him, but I doubt that either of them will play. Don't hold me to that. I'll play them if they're healthy, but something would have to happen for that to occur.
who will be your kicker?
I don't know. We got to go find one this afternoon. So I'm just kidding. Well, it'll either be it'll be Cook and Murphy, is what that's down to. So Cook and Murphy will. I'll make the choice of who that starter is probably Wednesday or Thursday. I may pick it that game day. Done that before. It's a lot, to me with kicking, a little bit like quarterback. It's everybody looks good at practice sometimes, but you get them in a game situation. There's a lot of stress that goes with particularly the kicking position, let alone the quarterback position. So since all eyes are on them, sometimes when you get to a game day, things change, and hopefully it doesn't for either of them. But if it does, we'll make the adjustment at that time.
Has Drysdale been cleared to start kicking, or is it still a thing? He
He
needs to take a
can't
week off.
he can't sustain it right now. He's working on it. He's getting better day to day, but he can't sustain the
We
full time load.
we weren't clear. What was the injury that he suffered in the spring?
I'm not even. It was. I'm not positive the verbiage on it, but it's like a labrum tear in your hip, is my understanding.
Are they aware? Are the kickers aware that how important you think it could be to watch them in warm-ups because they're kicking, even though it is warm-ups, they're kicking in front of 60,000, and that may be very important when it comes down to your evaluation process on who does it in the game.
Oh yeah, yeah. They better be aware. They will be.
So you give them that, just in black and white right out that it's going to be potentially important for you to evaluate them in
I think it's been passed down through generations that I've done it before. That and it very seldom happens, but and I trust both of them. I mean, Cook seems real calm, but I've never been around him on a game day as a freshman. I've seen Murph on a game day, and Murph always stays very calm. He's a holder. He's a punter. He does multiple things, and he's held the snap on game days as a PAT holder. So he's already experienced that stress. Maybe he wasn't the kicker, but he was the holder, which to me is very similar. Maybe more as a holder, but Cook is all new to me. We'll see how he does, but nothing seems to affect him that much on the surface anyway. So he looks strong. He's a really good kicker. He really came in and competed well for the position, and that's why it's up for grabs because he has competed so well for it.
Could this be the best Iowa State team we played?
Oh, by far. They've got Big 12 players. They're confident. They're competitive. I mean, when I say that, is compared to other teams that we've played down there, they have that internal mechanism that really makes them good besides just the talent on the field. I noticed that the last time we played them, and I notice it more so now as it's grown. I mean, it's a much stronger football team than what we've played in the past.
When you said that, Mark, what's your biggest concern then about Iowa State as you look at this?
That they're a handful. I mean, they're picked third in the Big 12. They're picked top 20 in the country, and legitimately so. This isn't a fluke by any means why they're picked that high. And I think it's a unanimous choice by the Big 12 coaches, which they're seeing the same things I'm seeing. They're seeing Big 12 players in a very good system that are playing very strong team football, and that's for us. That's very concerning because they get the home field advantage and they're building on what they have, what they were last year. So yeah, they're very, very good.
How challenging will that defensive line be? Jaquan Bailey, Ray Lima, two guys that could be all conference performers for them.
Well, yeah, and then you got the two guys inside with their star and their Mike that gets all the tackles in preseason all league as well. So you put the two ends out there that you mentioned, preseason all conference, and then you put the two internal guys that they're pushing the ball to. I mean, and then you've yet to mention Lima, the nose tackle, who I think makes it all go. So that's why they're so strong. Is that front seven is excellent. That's a Big 12 front seven, and when I say that's very complimentary of them. Because they rate with the teams that are at the top of that league, which are some pretty big names.
Understanding that it could change during the game, who do you anticipate to be out there in the defensive backfield outside of Xavier Williams on Saturday?
The ones, I don't even know what's listed on the two deep right there, but I'm guessing that's correct, that we'll roll with those guys. I mean, we'll probably play 4, 6. We'll probably play 6 different guys in some type of rotation, being early in the season. But your starters will be what it is, and then you'll probably play a couple of the backups in those roles because a lot of those are special teams players as well. So early in the season, you're going to have to, based off weather that day too, you got to play everybody because I've always found that day. Now it's usually been a night game, but the heat and the things this early in the season do factor into what happens late in the game if you are playing a few guys. So we'll play 6 guys in the secondary in some type of rotation as we go through that game.
Mark, what's your take on the two major rule changes this year in college football with the targeting and it's not very often you go to 5 overtimes, but I know there's been a change here. How do you feel about those changes?
I think both are good. I think the targeting, they've left the responsibility on the replay, and so the guys on the field are going to call it the same. It's going to go to the replay, and you can get your game back, which I think is very important for those players because we only get 11, and when you inject a guy for some of this stuff, I mean, I've had players do this before. It's they don't get that back. You can't get time back. So they got to make sure if they're going to eject somebody, it's a legitimate call that's seen and reviewed. So I believe in that. The overtime, if you get that far, I understand that. I thought you were going to ask about the kickoff return, where you can't have any more wedges. I think that's probably the most That's probably the biggest change of rule that will affect the game more so than anything else, because will there be more fair catches now, or how will people design the returns? But you may see more fair catches due to the fact that you can't use the two-man wedge anymore, or you're going to get a penalty anyway. So I think that'll probably be more concerning to teams early in the season, more so than any of the other ones, I would believe anyway. Anything else?
Any other players that might be questionable this week? I know that you had some guys nursing some minor stuff.
I think those are really only the two that come to mind. I mean, there's still some guys that they should be there by midweek at practice and things like that coming off this week. So I anticipate everybody else playing as I stand here now, except for those two, and I don't believe those two will. If they do, it'd be great if they would, but I don't foresee it. Okay? Thanks, guys.